Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hey, Johnny, what's up?
I have a problem with Lisa. She said that I hit her.
What? Well, did you?
No, it's not true. Don't even ask. What's new with you?
Well, I'm just sitting up here thinking, you know?
Hey!
Hi.
What are you doing in my office?
I cannot tell you. It's confidential.
I'll tell you it's confidential. You getting the fuck out of here!
Don't touch me, motherfucker. Get out.
You're the one that broke into my office. Leave!
Everybody betrayed me. I'm fed up with this world.
You too, Mark.
Son of a bitch.
How'd they even get in here? Oh, God, did that French fuck really break the security monitors? No good baguette-eating piece of the phone still off the hook, isn't it?
We're gonna have fun with this thing.
Hello? Hello? So welcome to your third night. Unfortunately, from the looks of it, those guys were messing with the security cameras, and seems like pretty much all of them will be disabled for the time being. Good thing we're not officially open yet, right? Oh well. I doubt anything bad will happen anyway. I'll just have some electricians take a look at them later, but at least your movie camera should still work. So, how about you switch to that and I'll conclude my thoughts on Night at the Museum. Before I do, there is something I said last night that I feel might get taken the wrong way, and I will feel really bad if it's not acknowledged, so here I go. When I was talking about the mysterious person sneaking something into a desk, I pretty much assumed it was Reginald because this person's wrist looks black, but the more I see that shot, the more I start having thoughts that it is possible that it could be Cecil's wrist, but the darkness in the room makes it look different. Just wanted to get that off my chest before the realization haunts me, or whatever. You know. So let's carry on. The one thing you might be curious about is, do I have a favorite character in the movie? There are so many big names in this picture and so many characters that I went over during the first night. Surely one of them is my favorite character, right? Wrong. Believe it or not, my favorite character is one I never really even talked about very much, nor are they really considered to be an important character. That is Rexy. Yes, my favorite character is not even human. Rexy is just such a fun exhibit because he is completely different from any Tyrannosaurus Rex you've ever seen. When he comes to life, he oddly enough is one of the only exhibits who doesn't try to kill night guards, but maybe that's also due to the fact that he's already in a wide open area to begin with. He also has dog DNA. Come on, you can't tell me that's not one of the most adorablest things you've ever seen. He also likes to play fetch with one of his bones. Really, the only reason why I didn't go into too much depth about him before was because there just wasn't a very proper moment for me to do so. So how's it proper now? Because Rexy is important for the climax of the film, which I gotta admit is pretty great. Since Cecil is trying to get away via stagecoach, Larry chases him on Teddy's horse, while on the street next to them, Aquaman and Nick ride Rexy, who is chasing a bone attached to a toy car Octavius and Jedediah are driving. Wait, how does Jed know how to drive a vehicle? Whatever, nitpicking. And really to hammer in how weird yet epic this sounds, I'm gonna explain it again in a different way. We got two night guards doing a chase sequence on horses, and a human kid and Egyptian prince are riding a T-Rex behind a cowboy and Roman gladiator driving a Hummer. I could not make that up if I tried. Somebody had to write that, dude.
I can't hold that!
Well, dang. That was dark. Good. You know, not every kids movie has to end on all happy notes, and Octavius and Jed managed to settle their differences, complete their arc of getting along, and they were able to help get the tablet back, and had a badass chase, so they won't be forgotten. But unfortunately, the climax has to end rather quickly.
Last chance, Cecil! Stop the horses or I will!
They can't be stopped, Larry. Don't you know your history? These are money carriers. They were trained not to stop for anything but a secret word.
Really? You mean a word like... Dakota!
I read up on my history. Thanks for the tip. Oh, and by the way, don't ever talk to me like that in front of my son.
So all bad night guards have been caught, and Larry decides to call up Rebecca so she can see the exhibits alive, since most of them are already outside the museum.
I told you I wasn't making fun of you.
Oh, bullshit! That's not a very rewarding reaction! Whatever, Rebecca's finally able to meet Sacagawea, and because she's a wax figurine of the real one, she can of course give Rebecca more information so she can finish her paper. Jeez, now that I'm thinking about it, it's a good thing she wasn't doing a paper on Teddy Roosevelt. I mean, she probably would have walked up to this Teddy and been like, yes, tell me about this wild beast that you shot. A little bit more about it, please. And then he'd be all like,
I was made in a mannequin factory in Poughkeepsie. I never shot a wild beast.
We lost a couple of good little men out there tonight.
With great victory comes great sacrifice.
Yeah.
Dad, look.
which literally means there was no point in having that crash. I mean, geez, if you're gonna do a death fake out, at least wait 15 minutes before bringing them back. Oh well, I like these two characters, so I don't necessarily mind their return. Just story-wise, the morning moments would have had a stronger impact. The news has spread worldwide about the exhibits coming to life, but the museum was frickin' trashed, and it was Larry's last chance to not screw up.
Any explanation at all?
No, got nothing.
Good. I'll take your keys and your flashlight.
You realize you are out of night guards now, right? I mean, I don't think Cecil, Reginald, and Gus are gonna stay there after stealing an ancient tablet from a museum. I don't care if you give them late night shifts to mop up the floors. You know, if you don't have them arrested, you are a terrible person. And if you're gonna fire Larry, in pretty much 2 nights, you've lost 4 night guards. Also, I should mention, not only is this his last scene, but it's also the only one where McPhee doesn't dialogue pad.
Good. I'll take your keys and your flashlight.
But because the exhibits coming to life is such an amazing phenomenon, it gets the attention of the citizens, and now tourism is skyrocketing compared to the beginning of the film. Which means he's able to finally keep a job. But that wasn't his only accomplishment. Now the running joke of the snapper is complete. And it only took until the very last frame of the film to get there. I guess I should mention that this running joke had 3 phases, quite separated from one another, I might add. The introduction to it, which I already showed you.
Well, that was the umbrella corporation for my invention, the snapper.
A reminder that just kind of got slipped into conversation and kind of went over your head.
Lawrence? Yeah? What did you do before you took this post?
Well, I've done a lot of different things. I invented this thing called the snapper.
Did you give up on that as well?
No, I didn't. No, I just hit a few roadblocks.
And finally, joke has concluded, as well as the film. So after all that, what are my final thoughts? The movie is harmless, which is both a good and bad thing. The good of it is, kids who are not into intense violence but like slapstick and childlike acting, that basically being the padded dialogue, will have fun with it and probably laugh a lot considering it's got quite a good cast that is good at making the audience laugh. It's also a movie parents can enjoy with their kids, considering, again, the cast and even a couple jokes and smart remarks the characters give. But the bad of it comes from if you're looking at this film from a critical point of view, which is half of what I'm doing. The character's dialogue padding does get grating after a while. I said before that I actually kind of like Ricky Gervais's way of doing it, because he actually looks like he's putting his all into it, but I can see where people would cringe at his performance rather than enjoy it. Also, you know how I really only brought up Dexter like 3 times in the whole review? That's because the scenes he's usually in have something only a really young child would enjoy, but an average young teen and I are likely wouldn't. And I'm not saying you need to have death scenes in kids' movies, but if you're going to make it look like Octavius and Jedediah died, not just turned to dust, it doesn't hurt to keep them that way. Let's take The Land Before Time, for example, which is also a kids' film. Littlefoot's mother dying is really tragic, and even to this day tears me up a bit. Not only was that a hard hit on Littlefoot, losing as far as he knew his only parent, but he was officially alone at that point until he came across Ducky. So say by some storyboard miracle his mother was actually fine, but just needed to nap off the sharp tooth damage and was already in the Great Valley when the kids showed up. The mood in the film as a whole would be destroyed every time you rewatched it. And I don't think the movie would have been praised as much to this day if that happened. If these two characters didn't make it, there could have been a very strong moment in the film to remember them by. And now that I'm actually thinking about it, the whole anti-war message could have worked much better. These two have pretty much been at war with each other this whole movie. But when they settled their differences and realized there are much greater risks at stake, they risked their own lives to get the tablet back so the rest of the museum can come to life each night from now on, not showing one bit of selfishness. If they actually died, Larry could have used this moment as a great example when delivering an anti-war speech to the other exhibits. But because of how harmless the filmmakers want it to be, they aren't able to give this moral in a more proper way. But let's talk about what I liked about the film. Ben Stiller's a great choice for this kind of role because he has the perfect amount of energy to keep the film going and kids entertained. And I also give him credit that this probably wasn't the easiest movie to act in. During his first night after the other night guards leave, he's on screen by himself until he comes across a humanoid exhibit. This scene where he's running away from Rexy, there wouldn't have actually been anything behind him when filming it. And there are moments where he has dialogue but can't get feedback from anyone else. So for that, I give him major props. Even though I don't like most of the characters that dialogue pad, I still enjoy how Ricky Gervais does it. When other characters do it, it just kind of feels half-assed. But when Gervais does it, he looks like he puts his all into it. And it's funnier that way. However, after thinking about it for a while, I will say I think him and Dick Van Dyke should have switched roles, but kept the same character. Just because now I'm kind of noticing McPhee doesn't exactly feel like somebody who is manager of a museum. Or anything, for that matter. If McPhee was a quirky night guard and Cecil was a serious museum manager, then I think Gervais's character would have been better and made a lot more sense. Robin Williams is Robin Williams. Nothing else really needs to be said. He's a childhood icon, and really no matter what movie he was in, even if the movie itself wasn't good, he always gave it his all, whether he needs to be excited, concerned, or even motivating. Jed and Octavius are fun characters that honestly act like brothers, and their bickering is honestly kind of funny. They are by far my favorite of the supporting cast, and I'm glad that the filmmakers decided to not put Owen Wilson as a cameo and gave him a much larger role. Rexy... Do I even need to say anything else about him? I practically gave him a full-on spotlight at the start, so I don't think much more needs to be said. I like dinosaurs, I like T-Rexes, I like Rexy, and he doesn't need a shitty metal song to be any cooler. Yeah, that's enough out of you. Get the fuck out of my video. The concept of the exhibits coming to life is very nice and unique. Sure, it was adapted from a book, but no other Night at the Museum films have ever been made prior, at least to my knowledge. And yes, the excitement does wear off after the first night, but there is still excitement to be had. Maybe if the film did what the title says and was a night at the museum and not 3, the excitement probably wouldn't have worn off as quickly. I'm just saying. The Bad Night Guards twist took me by surprise, and I doubt anyone who hasn't seen the film expected it. Like I said last night, it made a somewhat generic story feel fresh and exciting again. The climax is badass. The music, tension, and visuals are fantastic. I wish it went on a little bit longer, but I'm happy with what we already got. But unfortunately, we have to get into what any hardcore Night at the Museum fan, or lack thereof, will hate. The cons. The movie is a little too harmless. The anti-war speech comes out of nowhere and really doesn't work for this film. I don't like the other human characters like Dawn, Nick, Larry, Zex, and Rebecca. But then again, at least Rebecca did sort of have an arc and was completed, whereas Larry didn't. But whatever, it's not like Rebecca's Sacagawea paper mishap ever led anywhere. Except my least favorite cliche of all time, but I already went over that, so we're good. These characters are just not interesting, and the scenes that they are in are just boring. I don't like the other Night Guards. You can obviously tell they will be up to something bad in just the very first scene they're in. To be fair, I don't mind Cecil and Reginald as they are fairly level-headed, and before they officially turn evil, they seem very helpful. Not a fan of Gus. I haven't really seen any other movies that Mickey Rooney has ever been in, but I hear he was a really great actor back in the day. But here, he's just another character who is specifically for the kids. And it feels out of place when he's paired up with Cecil and Reginald. His gimmick is that he is aggressively funny and will dish out insults that aren't very offensive.
Instructions. You start with 1, 2, 3,
4.
Are you cracking wise? Now listen, Lunchbox. Don't try anything funny. I once went 9 rounds with John L. Sullivan.
Again, if McPhee was a guard and Cecil was the manager, this could have worked out better by having 2 comic relief characters and a level-headed character to balance out the insanity. That level-headed character being Reginald. The tablet doesn't get much backstory. All we know about it is it brings dead things in a confined area to life and makes really old people feel younger and become martial arts experts. I guess. Would have rather had a story involving that instead of the whole, oh, the museum is going out of business plot. Finally, Achman-Ra. Don't get me wrong, I still acknowledge he is an important character, but the problem I have is he technically isn't revealed until an hour and 20 minutes into the film. Then, just about 22 minutes later, Larry literally snaps to the credits. Within that time, he does only one useful thing. Reads a scripture on the tablet that commands all the exhibits to head back to the museum. He's not the biggest problem I have in the film, but I'm just saying, if you're still gonna introduce characters 22 minutes before your film ends, you might want to give them a little bit more to do. But in the end, I got 2 different ways to rate this film. A personal rating and a realistic one. My personal enjoyment of the film is a 7 out of 10. It has a great cast, I think there are many funny moments, the twist is cool and unique, the exhibits coming to life is cool, at least until the first night ends, and the Central Park chase is fun and exciting. My realistic or critical rating is a 5 out of 10. The film just drags painfully slow at points, the main plot is boring, I like Larry's character, but there isn't anything interesting about him. Most of the time it's a little too kid-friendly, you gotta wait about 20 minutes before anything exciting happens. The anti-war message again does not work in the context that it was given, and of course my biggest problem, the padded dialogue. This film is just over an hour and a half long, and if the stuttering and awkward conversations were not in it, it probably would have been just over an hour. So, after your shift ends tonight, I recommend at least renting it to see if it's a film that fits your style. But if you're a parent and have kids, buy the film and enjoy it with the whole family. Have a blast! Pop a couple of drinks. 420 that shit, I don't care, just do it. But, since the cameras aren't working right now, you can't exactly do what you were hired to do. So, how about you come on down to my office and I'll give you an extra tour around the restaurant. I'll see you here.
Hello? Hello?
traveling boy!